Hello, we are at the 12th Armored Division Memorial Museum in Abilene, Texas. This is the 55th annual reunion, and I am here with Ramon Howell. It is October 5th, 2001, and my name is Michelle Colvin. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Ramon, we just wanted to know your date of birth and where you were raised.
September 30th, 1920. I was born in Benton, Virginia.
And tell me about your parents and the way your upbringing.
My parents, he worked at American Viscose, and he was pretty much a farmer, kind of did farming on his sides, what have you. And my mother, she was just a housewife,
Did you have any siblings?
Yeah, I had one son and one daughter. The daughter's with me here today, and the son passed away, and he was 41 years old when he passed away. We lived in Canton, Ohio.
So did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I had 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
So how did you get involved in the Army? Were you drafted, or?
I was drafted. I worked after we was first married. Well, then we decided I wanted to go down. Some of my buddies working down Newport News in a shipyard, and I decided I'd go down and work in the shipyard. So I went down and worked about 7 or 8 months. And then I was drafted down there.
And when was that?
It was in 42, I believe it was, 1942. My wife, she came back to live with her parents, and so I came into the Army.
So tell me about being drafted, and where did you go after you were?
I went down to Fort Lee in Virginia, and from that I went to up in Camp Campbell, Kentucky, and from that I went to Camp Barkley.
So tell me your experience in Camp Barkley.
Oh, it was quite a deal. The wife lived over with me for 7 months, lived down on 3rd Street, and she enjoyed it a lot. First thing was at Camp Campbell, and she came down to stay, and she was there about 6, 7 months, I believe it was, and she worked down in town to something like 5 and 10 or whatever. So that was pretty nice to be together like that. In Camp Barkley, yeah, like I said, I lived down on 3rd Street, and the wife was down, and I'd come in, well, most every night, not every night, but on weekends, and pretty nice having that.
Yeah, that was kind of unique, I bet. There wasn't too many other people and other soldiers like that.
Oh, it was quite a few. It was three apartments in the place that I lived, and there was all of them. There was a whole lot of them, lived in town here. The wives came down and they lived in town.
So then from there you went to where?
We went to New York, Camp Kilmer, I believe, New York. I'm not sure. From that, then we got on a bus, on a boat, and went over to England. And later on, stayed a while in England. Then we went across the bay into France, and then on through, all the way through. Went in at Le Havre, and all the way through France and Germany, then across the Rhine River, down into Austria, I believe, into the concentration camp section through there.
So what was your experience on the ship over?
I got sick. Yeah, that was the most thing. I don't know, I thought I could, go most anything, but I got sick going over. All about the last day, I finally got so I could eat a little bit. I always like to stay up on top deck. It seemed like it's always better.
So who was your captain?
The ship,
No, of the when you were on overseas.
Captain Mulder, James Mulder, was the captain. And I guess he kind of moved on up to division artillery and what have you. I think he made colonel, and maybe that's just about all, I guess.
Did you get along with him good? Or?
Oh, real good, yeah. Nicest guy I've ever been with at all. In fact, I had him to even come out. I was on guard this one time. Everybody's so tired, and I had him. He said, I told him, I said, I was getting so tired. He said, you go on in. Said, I'll stand guard for you. Now that was an unusual thing. Yeah. So he took my place for about, I guess, almost an hour. So he let me go on in. He was from Tennessee, and yeah, we got along real good.
So what was your specialty?
I was a radio man, radio operator. I went to radio operator school in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then got back and I was a radio operator, CW and voice radio operator.
Did you enjoy that, or?
Oh yeah, I loved it real good. Mm-hmm.
Who were some of your buddies in the unit?
Oh, Sam Pattinson, Vic Gagne, Edison James, Nelson Bolton, just a whole lot of them. Carl Coates, he was a good friend of mine. He was in charge of the ammo section, I believe it was. Guy Bailey, I forget his first name right offhand. And Wilgus McDaniel, he drove a half track that we went in most of the time, and we was kind of paired up and pretty good buddies. But he'd never been to a reunion after we left. I don't know why he wouldn't come to it. He lived in Kentucky or something, and then I think from that he went on, transferred up to Ohio or someplace, and never did get him to come to a reunion.
So tell me about your first experience in battle.
I guess it's around going in Metz, I believe it was. See, like I said, I was an operator, radio operator, and this pillbox I tell you about, where we stayed in, we lost communication with the forward observer, and so they sent me up to relay. So we're going up, and like I said, Wilgus McDaniel was driving a half track, and going up and get up about a mile up a road. Mac said, well, which way we go here? Was a Y in the road? I said, I don't have any idea. I said, I can't read German. He couldn't read German. He said, well, we'll just have to take the old Kentucky method. I said, well, how in the world is that? So he spit in his head like he said, we'll go this way. So I went that way, and it happened to be the wrong way. Got up in this little town, and didn't see a soul. Wasn't a soul in the town. And went on down in town, went up the street, Main Street. All I saw was one guy open these shutters on, have the shutters on the windows, opened the shutter and looked out, and he closed them back up. And I said, Mac, I said, we better get out of here. I said, it's too quiet in here. So we went on over there and back down the street and went on back where we came from. And we was going back just about where we come from, we met the infantry from the Rainbow Division moving up on the ditches, So they stopped us. They thought we was Germans that captured an American half-track, and we had a terrible time trying to convince them that, they was up on a relay. They finally had to call Captain Mulder and whatever. And so then after finally got permission to go on back, I asked the guy, I said, what are y'all moving up on this and coming up on the ditches, on both sides? He said, we're going to take this pillbox up here. That's what we're up there for. I said, well, we slept in it last night. And the whole crew slept in it. Yeah. I guess that was kind of an experience.
What was your experience in Herlsheim?
And where?
In Herlsheim.
Herlsheim? Not much more than just radio operators, signals, and fire missions, relaying fire missions and what have you. But that was a pretty rough deal for everybody. But I didn't have any unusual thing there.
Were you ever injured?
No, I guess I was lucky. No, I was never injured.
Where were you when they announced that the war was over?
Was down in almost in Austria. Went down, went through the concentration camps on down, and yeah, it's right around not Colmar, it's over in the, I don't remember the name of the town. Anyway, it's almost down in Austria. We already crossed the Rhine River, down past Munich, on down in right in close to Austria. That was pretty exciting.
Did you have any association with any of the French civilians?
With French? Very little bit. We met up with the French army when in Colmar, the liberation of Colmar pocket, that kind of got to know quite a few of them, and they was kind of, dressed, with their beards and what have you, and well, the French Morocco is what they were, and got to know a few of them. But no, the French civilians, they was real, all real nice. And had one time they invited us up, a couple ladies invited us up for like cake and coffee or something, and they had the cake. I never tasted cake like that before. Seemed like it didn't have sugar in it, but just a real kind of. We was only about an hour up there, Just, and what stands out in my mind was that cake that they had. Yeah, cake and coffee. Well, I believe it was tea they had. They was always wanting to get coffee grounds and what have you, come down mess halls, and they'd just tickle them to death, get coffee ground, then they'd take them home and make coffee. Where we'd throw away. Yeah.
So do you remember spending holidays like Christmas and Easter and that? Where were you? Do you remember? Were you with local people, or did you just stay in camp?
Just our local people. You mean during the war now? Well, yeah, just with the local ones. Maybe have turkey or whatever. Didn't want too much for Christmas.
Did you have any experiences with the concentration camps?
I was in one that drove through it. Wilgus McDaniels now, it was half track, and we drove through one at Landsberg, drove through it and back out. Yeah, that was pretty much, that was pretty horrible. People said, I've had people say, was it really well? Really real? From the talking. But I can guarantee it was real. Yeah.
When was this? Do you recall?
It was at Landsberg, and we'd go down through them. It had big trenches up here, and bodies piled up on both sides, just about like cordwood or something. Yeah.
So did you have to serve in the Army of Occupation?
Just a little while. I was on the duty for hauling German prisoners back, But that was maybe a couple months or something like that. I don't remember anything particular about hauling. Anyway, we just hauling back the driver, and then I'd be on a big truck, hauling back. They had to stand up in the truck. It'd be about 30 some of them hauling back to where they had to take them.
Did they give you any trouble?
No, they're all glad to get going.
So tell me about that experience trying to light a fire that you were mentioning earlier.
Well, he decided it was cold. We was all done got in the pillbox, and it was kind of cool in there. And so McDaniels, he decided, well, I'll build a fire in a little pot-bellied stove. So he went out and gathered up a little bit of wood, brought it in. And it wouldn't burn too good, just kind of halfway burned. We done put all of our bedrolls, spread them out. And so he went out to the half track to get some gasoline. So he got a pork and bean can, filled it up, went back in, opened the stove up, poured it in, and it flashed up. So he up on his hand, he throwed it back in the stove. I aimed to throw it in the stove, hit on top of it, and the fire just went all over our bedrolls and everything. So we finally had a time trying to put all that out and everything. Finally got to put it out, and so we stayed there that night.
And you survived. How'd you stay warm?
What?
How'd you stay warm?
We didn't stay warm, just in your bedroll. It wasn't bad inside that. It's inside the pillbox. No, we were just in a bedroll, so we stayed warm. It wasn't that cold, just a little bit damp and kind of miserable. Well, if you got in the bedroll, well, it was all right.
So how do you feel that your war experience has changed your life or affected your life?
Well, I guess the freedom, talking with other people and the freedom that we have, I guess that was a whole lot. Yeah. I think if we hadn't have gone, we wouldn't have had the freedom we have in the United States. Somebody had to do it.
So once you were back in the States, what did you do?
When I got back in the States, let's see, I went to work, and then later on, then after, in fact, it was just a kind of a temporary type job, and then when I got laid off, I went to, let's see, I went to Chicago, Illinois to go to school, for electrical school. So I'd go up there and go to school for 2 or 3 months, whatever it was. Went on the GI Bill of Rights and worked part-time and went to school. Come back and went to work in the IBEW, the local union electricians. And I worked through that for about 30 years. I worked for different contractors. Finally ended up working for Johnson Control, fire alarm, burglar alarm systems, and stuff like that. And retired in 1982. Been retired 19 years.
So had you heard about the ASTP program before you started in the service?
No, I didn't know.
All right. When you go back and think about your war experiences, what message would you like to have the present and future generations remember and learn from?
I don't know. It could be so many. I don't know. Well, we had to sacrifice a whole lot for what we had to do. And after we got over there, we knew we had a job to do, so never did have no trouble with nobody at all. Everybody's had a job to do. Everybody's willing to do it and go along. Everybody's your buddies. And had a lot of friendship.
What What did your wife do while you were overseas?
She worked in Roanoke, Virginia. Worked in a 5 and 10 cent store, and she stayed with her parents. And yeah, that's all. That's about all she did, just work and like that.
Well, did you have anything else that you would like to express at this point?
Not really. I just. Oh, one thing I was aiming to tell you. This was going down in Colmar, I think it was. Moved into this town, and so we go in a brick building, 2-story brick building, and somebody, one of the half-track drivers, is standing at the stairway looking upstairs, and somebody threw a brick or something down, hit him on the helmet. And so McDaniels said, let's go up and find out who did. So we got up on top of the steps, some girl met us at the top of the steps, said, Papa Kronk, Papa Kronk. That meant he was sick, and so we didn't pay attention. Mike had his .45 machine gun, and I had whatever I had. And so went on in the room there. There's a guy, and he was in bed, said, Papa was Kronk. So he was in the bed, and we looked at him, had the cover pulled up on him, up to like this. And I walked down to the foot of the bed, felt something. I said, Mac, I said, do you always sleep with your shoes on? He said, no. Shot over top of his bed, and that man, he'd come up from there, and it wasn't nothing wrong with him. He's the one threw the brick down, so we take him in. I don't know how come Mac to do it. He just, I guess, made him mad or something. Yeah, he shot about that high up over top of his bed.
That's amazing. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, I'm finished. So I'd like to thank you for your time and your experiences.
Well, I hope I kind of maybe told you a little bit. You don't think of these things until you start somebody ask you about it. Unless you happen to get with some of your old buddies or something, then bring them up. You might discuss them a little bit. But I enjoyed the interview.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.